Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ray Leonard Jr. I'm your happy host today, navigating and moderating with these fantastic NFL legends. It's so amazing to work with HBCU heroes for this event. So we're talking about HBCU to the NFL, but there's so much more we're going to discuss today, because I think it is amazing to be able to have a conversation with people with so much history, so much legacy, that went to HBCUs, that watched HBCUs from afar, that may have wanted to go to HBCUs but didn't have the opportunity to do it. So we're just going to have a good conversation and talk about where we're going at right now, and what's happening within the world and the space right now. So, without any further ado, I just want to welcome my illustrious panel here. First of all, up to my top left, if that's how it's going, Mr. Everson Walls. He's a GSU Grambling alumni. He's a Dallas Cowboy legend. He played for the New York Giants too. So, Mr. Everson Walls, one of the best that ever did it out there.
What's going on?
Louisiana's finest too. Louisiana's finest.
Right, that's right. Grambling is all about, baby. Hey, at Grambling, where everybody is somebody. Don't forget.
It is. I love it. I love it. I'm wearing the shirt because my son goes to Grambling. He's playing football there, freshman first year. So I got to give him some love too. But next we got my man, Mr. Hugh Douglas. He was my neighbor in Roswell, Georgia. But Mr. Mansfield, Ohio, Eagles legend. Now, what more can you say about this man? If he was on the field, he was a quarterback, you better watch out, because this man was assassin. So, you welcome to the show.
Hey, well, thanks for having. You know what? It ain't a whole bunch of Cowboys that I like in my life, but Everson Walls is definitely one of them. That's my man.
My dude, you. What's up, baby?
Oh, man. We can't forget another amazing defensive back, another amazing Mr. Fort Valley State, LaGrange, Georgia guy, Tyrone Poole, NFL history legend, one of the best DBs to ever do it. Tyrone, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, man, it's an honor to be on this call. I think it's a much needed call. We got some greats on here. Hugh Douglas, man, class of 95, baby. What's going on, man?
But
95.
Hell, I'm gonna look like our age. You look the same as you did when we got drafted. I'm the only one got old.
Hey, that's that Fort Valley water, man. That's that Fort Valley water. Akili,
drink that water.
Everson, man, a lot of great people, man. Thank Tracy and George Lynch, man, HBCU heroes, for putting this together.
Yes, sir.
Ray moderating this, man. A lot of people gonna get a lot of information from this. Hopefully it'll help them grow and become more knowledgeable about the fight and the battle.
Beautiful. And then last but not least, Mr. Akili Smith, the super tall 6'5" quarterback out of Oregon, out there representing Lincoln High School in San Diego. What up, Akili?
What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
Yeah.
Hey, let me say something real quick, man. It's an honor to be on this panel. When Ray asked me if I was available, there's no way I was turning down this opportunity. There's some synergy going on right now in the HBCUs, to where my son's top 3 is the Power 5, and Ray knows my son because all of our kids play together. But right now, I think the HBCU is definitely going to be in play.
Well, you know what? When we talk about that, and so there's a lot going around, swarming around the HBCUs right now, and you 3 guys have a legacy from HBCUs, which is, for a long time, everybody wanted to go to the Power 5. Everybody was saying, "Here, this is the only way you can do it." But you guys found a way, coming from an HBCU. And Mr. Everson Walls, you were one of the first ones to do it. And we talked about it on my show last time, and I interviewed you. You had a rough road going through it. Like it wasn't easy how you got there. But what was your experience like? I want to ask each one of you guys about what was your experience like from going from an HBCU and then finally making it to the NFL.
Well, it was tough, man. But Coach Rob had us ready for it. When I went to Grambling, you had to be very creative on how you raise money. And most brothers from HBCUs understand that. That's why they came up with classics, where you bring the whole university with you, you bring the band, You bring the alumni. We come in a bus. We're going to come a couple of days early because we have to be creative on how we raise money. So as we did that, Coach Robinson made sure that the product had to be presentable to the NFL. So you as a player, and we're gonna have suits and ties on everywhere we go because we travel 8 games out of 11 games. We're on the road. We're gonna make sure we present you with an athlete that graduated from his university, and we wear suits and ties everywhere we go. So that, to me, the model was there to present to whoever was going to sign me. It happened to be the Dallas Cowboys. So suits and ties and the way we represented ourselves, that was the norm for me when I went to the Cowboys from Grambling. But wow. the HBCU NFL transfer or transition, there's always you don't get the benefit of the doubt, okay? When you come in from an HBCU, they're gonna look at you as less than. That's just the way it is. So when they see you, then you're gonna have to prove something to them. When you come from a Power 5 school, it's great to have those kind of accolades that come your way. They precede you, okay? They come before you. So when you come into the room, then they automatically see greatness. They automatically see potential. But if you're from an HBCU, you're always looked at as someone that needs to prove himself. Everything that you do when you come in, it's going to be, you're digging yourself out of a hole that's already been dug for you. So you're already trying to climb out of that. And so that's where the extra motivation comes. When we're growing up, our parents always tell us, as a Black person, you have to do twice more, and you probably get less accolades for that. Well, that's kind of how it is. You come in, you won't get the benefit of the doubt, and you have to fight. It's just like T. Poole said, you're gonna have to fight for everything. Every day is a battle, and they're looking at you from that moment. The moment they see you and they know what school you're from, then you know that you're gonna have to be fighting that battle uphill.
Yeah. So you know what? There's a different kind of pride, when you talk about, guys that went and played for HBCUs. And I look back at my experience when I was coming out of high school to play ball, and my last 2, I was down to Hampton and Ohio University of where I was going to play at, and eventually chose Ohio University because I thought, that's the only way you got to the league if you were one of the bigger schools. Even though it was a mid-major, I thought we'd have more exposure there. But one of my buddies that went to Ohio with me ended up transferring Antonio Davis, quarterback. He ended up going to Central State. So I got to talk to Mr. Central State. So what was that like? I mean, what made you pick Central State, Hugh, and how was that experience for you?
Well, you know what? It was funny. When I first went to Central State, I didn't know that much about it. And, I didn't know that much about HBCUs because at my school, that wasn't nothing that was talked about. It was the Ohio universities. It was the Akrons. It was the Ashland universities. So when you talk about an HBCU, one of the only HBCUs that in Wilberforce up this way, up this far north, nobody really talked about that. So I had my counselor, Coach Brown, Stan Brown. He was the one that told me about it and said they play some good football there. And it's an HBCU. Didn't know anything about it. So when I went, the experience was different. Mine was a little bit different than Everson's because when I went to Central State, you already had Vince Buck, who had just went to the New Orleans Saints. And when I got to Central State, Big E, Eric Williams, he was being scouted by the Dallas Cowboys. That's the
Black College Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
The second Dallas Cowboy that I have a much respect for right now. That's another one right there.
Come on home, Hugh.
So it was different, man, but everything that the guys are echoing is the same because you got to think about it like this. Coming from Fort Valley, coming from Grambling, coming from Central State, you're not going to school. Like when you go to the pros, you ain't gonna see too many of your guys around the league. It's just you have a silo mentality because you ain't gonna go play against, say, the Arizona Cardinals and meet some guys that played at your school. It's just you. and you got to represent every time that you're out there. I remember the only time that I actually played against Eric Williams. Man, when I saw him, I was just so happy to see him, somebody in my school that was out there on the field, because, man, it's a lonely thing because you carrying the torch for everybody. Like, and this is the thing that people need to understand about HBCUs. I don't care which one you go to. I don't care what school you go to. When you played at an HBCU, you carry the torch for all of them. Every last one. That's what people need to understand. Even though we play against each other, we got the SWAC, the MEAC, the SEAC, all of that. When you out there on that NFL football field, you're all brothers. Like, I don't care what school you go to, and you root for each and every one of everybody.
That's true.
That's all we got. That's all we got.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh man, and Tyrone. So I mean, you down LaGrange, Georgia. We on a Fort Valley State, and then you end up being a first round pick. What's it, 22nd pick in the NFL draft?
Yeah, man. Me and Hugh part of that '95 draft class, and but I got to pay homage to all of the guys that came before me in Fort Valley. From Rayfield Wright, man, our school Hall of Famer. Dallas Cowboy, man, Dallas Cowboy.
They ain't gonna count.
Hey, that's a thing. That's a thing out here today. That's a thing.
Always come back to the Cowboys.
Cowboys was ahead of the curve when it came to the HBCU players.
That's true. That's true.
Exactly.
Cowboys signed Too Tall Jones back in 1975, I believe. He was the first pick that they had, and that was major. And then he turned around and made things scary because he quit for 1 year to go into professional boxing. I don't know if you guys remember that. Y'all were a little too young.
I remember that. Wow. I was like, what are you doing? You don't play boxing.
Yeah,
but I digress.
It was a failed experiment. Trust me, it was a failed experiment. He got knocked down by the shortest boxer in history. So yeah.
We then got spanked.
Guys like I said, like Rayfield Wright, man. You got Greg Lloyd, Eddie Anderson. Ricardo Lockett. At one time, Marquette King. He was the only black punter in the NFL, punting for the Raiders, the Broncos. So many guys. Nick Harper. Guys that have come from Fort Valley and just HBCU. Period. So I always tell people my story. It's not where you go. You can become a first rounder. You can become whatever you want to. The only person that stops you is the person that you look at every day in the mirror. And I believe that. And I tell people it doesn't matter where you go. It's what you do where you are. You just need to make sure you have the mentality. Tyrese Gibson, I use him as an example. This guy, he's sitting on the back of a Coca-Cola commercial, and because he had the talent, he let it show at the right time. And that's why I tell people, HBCUs, what I learned from HBCUs, my experience, resilience, taught me resilience. We didn't have a weight room.